So dark. So dark now. Ducky. My noon, sorry, yes, my noon. Zuri said dear. Magadi Titi. Sorry, guys, for coming late. This is probably after 10 o'clock. Hey, as long as it's weekend, it's Saturday, I don't think we have a problem. Sorry. I was a bit tied up this afternoon. I was a bit tied up, but now I've come in peace to the people of Zimbabwe. We want peace. We want peace. So there is chaos, as you understand, that a government is made up of 3 branches. What I'm going to talk about tonight is about this chaos that we find Zimbabwe in. Zimbabwe is in a serious, dire need of rescue. We want Zimbabweans, we must rescue the country. The country is under siege from ZANU-PF. It's under siege from ZANU-PF. The problem, ZANU-PF does not understand that a government is comprised of three pillars, 3 branches of a government. These branches are very crucial. If you have got a leader, a political leader who do not understand these 3 branches of a government, you will see the chaos that we are seeing today. So Zimbabwe needs to be rescued from ZANU-PF stranglehold. ZANU-PF is strangling the country. The country can't breathe now. I can't breathe. It means Zimbabwe as a country can't breathe now. If we don't act to save the country, then the country will collapse. I'm going to answer some few questions about certain people who were I don't think that kuti maZimbabweans sometimes kana vachitanga kutaura kana kuda kutaura kana kuda kukomenta, do they understand? Do they understand the contents, or do these guys listen to themselves before they comment? Because if you just comment without understanding what is discussed, then you will be a laughing stock. Problem yatinayo mazimba is tinekamuka full of I know. That full of I know, let's set it aside. Because once we have a full of I know, hakuna kwatiri kuenda as a country. I remember I was talking about 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗄𝗏 yesterday when I was discussing about 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗏 flying to Russia. In Russia, he went on to do a shopping for firearms of war rather than do a shopping for companies that manufacture fertilizer. We know Zimbabwe is an agrarian. Zimbabwe's economy is agrarian. It is based on agriculture. So any president who is coming in power, or we expect any government in power to invest much in agriculture. Because if you look at Botswana, Botswana is a desert. It needs to be fed by Zimbabwe. If you look at SWAPO, that's Namibia. Namibia is a desert. It needs to be fed by Zimbabwe. If you look at Angola, it's a desert. It is a country that is supposed to be benefiting from Zimbabwe. Angola has got large deposits of oil that we can benefit from Angola. We can benefit oil once we give them food. South Africa, a very good example. We used to feed South Africa. Someone will say, you can't feed South Africa. We used to feed South Africa. Zimbabweans used to feed South Africa. If I take you back, in the era of buttercup margarine, do you know that buttercup margarine that was produced in Zimbabwe, it was sold worldwide. It was on demand worldwide. Even South Africa, South Africans, they used to cross the border to come to Zimbabwe, raid Zimbabwe shops, pay them with rands, which were very strong during that time, to take loads of buttercup margarine into South Africa. It was on demand. If you go to Mozambique, they still talk about buttercup margarine from Zimbabwe. Come to the United Kingdom, they talk about buttercup margarine from Zimbabwe. So if you don't understand that Zimbabwe, buttercup, all the products came from agriculture. Zimbabwe in SADC is a country that had a large cloth manufacturing company, 𝗕𝗿𝗿𝗄𝗏. If you go to South Africa, waona machira 𝗕𝗿𝗿𝗄𝗏. Quality clothes made of cotton, they were made in Zimbabwe. The clothes, machira acho aigadzirwa kuZimbabwe neDFT. Saka you see that most of these products were from agriculture. And if we have got any president coming in, or any president who is the president of Zimbabwe, must look into investing in agriculture. We don't expect a president to invest in firearms of war. What do we need those arms of war for? Honestly, if I may ask Zimbabweans, that people of Zimbabwe have got no jobs. What they need are industries that will manufacture what I'm talking about, buttercup margarine. For buttercup margarine to be manufactured, we must have loads of dairy cattle ranches where mombe dzemukaka kwadzinenge dzichengetwa, mazitenge mukaka achimhanya achinotora mukaka achiuya nemukaka uchigadzirwa tichiwana margarine. Ndiriwo rairo vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rairo vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara mudhiriwo, vakomana vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje nogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo ravakomana, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara mudhiriwo, musatambe navo vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje nogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rairo vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje nogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo ravakomana, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara mudhiriwo, vakomana vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara mudhiriwo, musatambe navo vanogara mudhiriwo, ndiriwo rarembanje vanogara. Jerry Master tatsikwa nevakuru pano. Jerry Master, makadii vakuru? Vakuru vangu ava vakandisa basa vakuru ava. Ndichisvika paHarare remand prison, ndakasvika vakuru ava varipo ava vachindidzisa basa, vaive nekamukachaka vairova vakanzi ningi ovhati Jerry Master. Nanhasi handiukanganwe mudhara wangu. Ndima akandidzisa basa tisvika paRimandi, tiri ndumurwa, tichine mukaka pamhuno. Mukati wafana dzikamai pano panonzi paRimandi prison ropera pano. Mukatidzisa basa mudhara ziapa. Andrew ziapa ndo andiri kutaura vakuru vari panapa. Anonzi Andrew Zihapa. Vakuru ava vakandidzisa basa kudzisa chigadhijeri chaicho, kuti mfana chigadhijeri ichi basa rinoita so tinoti takasvika varipo vari madhara. Saka I'm happy to see he's still living, he's still around, and dziri panapa dziri kuteerera. Makadii mukoma Andrew Zihapa? Nai chakuti pio tu Zihapa. Jerry Master. Right, sorry. Ndangoti ndikwase mgomo wangu wari panapa. Saka nyaya tiri kutaura nhasi ndeyekuti we are going into an election, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people are crying about the 12 members of parliament in Matabeleland being barred to contest this election. A lot of people are not happy about whatever is happening in Matabeleland. This is just an attack on the Ndebele people. ZANU-PF government has never allowed Ndebele people to rule or to run themselves. They are just like subjects. You know, what happened to 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃 this year? Unona ndakati there is wisdom. Vachamisa vane wisdom. Ndakaona wisdom in President Nelson Chamisa. Because zakati idzo vanhu vekumatabeleland always they cry. Amashona. They want to determine our life. Amashona. They want to do this and that. Amashona. They want this and that done for the Ndebele people. As if we don't think. Saka makaona this act of devolution which was done by 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃. The 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃 as a political party under the leadership of President Nelson Chamisa then said, okay, that's fine, guys. People in Matabeleland, citizens of Zimbabwe in Matabeleland, here is an opportunity of you guys to select your candidates. The 𝗕𝗵𝗃 National Executive has got no say over a candidate that the people want. And the people of Matabeleland, they were set down as citizens of Zimbabwe. They came up with their candidates that they feel like they own this portion of a political party, or they own themselves, because they feel like they own themselves now. It's unlike what you see in ZANU-PF, where 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, who is not even a resident in Zimbabwe. He resides in Switzerland. He's flown from Switzerland to go into 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 Park in Bulawayo to say, go and represent the people of Bulawayo. As if you go to 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 Park, there are no ZANU-PF people there. You understand? These are the differences between 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 and the ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF has got audacity to fly someone from Switzerland to go to 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 Park in Bulawayo and say, go and represent the people of Bulawayo, of 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 Park in Bulawayo. This man does not reside there. When he was doing his 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃, his head office was in Harare. He was a partner to Emmerson Mnangagwa's 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃, which collapsed. And when it collapsed, 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃 ran away with the people investments. Until today, those who had invested in 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃, they did not recover their money. Imagine you go to work and you tell your employers that I want my salary deposited in a 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃. Every month I will go withdraw my salary from 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃. All of a sudden, 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 closes the bank, take everything away, your salary, not your salary alone, the people of Zimbabwe's salaries. How many billions were there that 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 took and fled the country into Switzerland, where he is now a resident, a permanent resident, or a citizen of Switzerland. When his partner came back in government, he flew back and was appointed the Minister of Finance. Being appointed the Minister of Finance, he hasn't reimbursed those depositors who put their money in 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃. He has been Minister of Finance for 6 years now. If you ask Zimbabweans who was refunded by 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, not one of you was refunded. And that same thief who fled with your money is coming back as your member of parliament in 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗃 Park. Think about it. That even if these 12 are barred from contesting, do you want to be represented by 𝗕𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, who represent such an organization which does not respect the people of Bulawayo? So the devolution was done by 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃, first of its kind. People in Matabeleland, sit down. This region belongs to you. This 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗄 seat belongs to you, the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗄 people. Choose your candidates and tell us who your candidates are. Register them to be members of parliament and tell us that you have registered them. You will never see a political party run like that. Because political party, it has got the Buddhis. This is my Buddhi. He has to be member of parliament. Because being a member of parliament is now the easiest source of employment. Being a councillor is now the easiest source of employment. You become a councillor, you become a member of parliament, and then you are ready to work for your family. At the end of your term, you've got a car, you've got a house, you've got things that you did not have in life, which you never dreamt of, in fact. So this is why you see there is this scramble to fill these positions as members of parliament. So by having that, people are seeking political power. If you have got political power, you need to utilize your political power to make sure that you better the people's lives. People's lives can never be bettered by someone who has been there for 43 years looting. The person who does not reflect on reality, that since I became minister in this government in 1980, until now, what have I done for the people of Zimbabwe? You see, and you are still coming back to look for a job. At 86 years, Mnangagwa is still coming back to look for power. The power that he has held for the past 43 years, and he never did anything for the country. So today, he does not have that capacity to better your life. He does not have this capacity to rally behind the unification of the people of Zimbabwe, or uniting the citizens of a nation. He can't do that. His organization, it has got a very bad influence. Because today, if you talk about ZANU-PF, you potentially talk about chaos. That is chaos in our country. ZANU-PF is not a political party that can bring the people of Zimbabwe together. Even if you give it power today, it won't bring the people of Zimbabwe together. So there, it is the disjointed portion of a nation. Zimbabweans were divided because of ZANU-PF. Zimbabweans were in trouble because of ZANU-PF. What these ZANU-PF people wants to do is just get their desirable positions, becoming members of parliament, and from there, that's their agenda only. It's not that they want to better your life. They will never better your life. So we are moving towards 2023 election. Let's look at what 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃 did. Let's look at what 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃 did. It gave you, as citizens of a country, an opportunity to say, if you make mistakes, you make your own mistakes. You don't know to blame anyone. Because the 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃 gave you the rope to hang yourself. Say, look guys, we are an organization which is comprised of every citizen. The decision making or decision makers of 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃, or the decision making process of 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃, is not from the hierarchy going downwards. No, it's from the grassroots. Your leadership, you just inform them that this is exactly what we want, and the leadership cannot say no, because this is the will of the people. And they know if people choose a person that they want, they'll all go and vote for that person. This is what is scaring ZANU-PF. This is why you see ZANU-PF does not want an election, because they know a system that was used by 𝗕𝗵𝗺𝗃 is the most effective system of choosing representatives in a country. Those who were used to be imposed, who did not want a free and fair environment, who used to be imposed by certain leaders, we know, are not happy that they were not given opportunity to represent the people of Zimbabwe. Are not happy at all. And these people, we know, they are not happy at all. Because most of them, they were sidelined by the citizens. Citizens said, no, no, no. You have been imposed for quite some time. We no longer want your services. Thank you for whatever you did. Then they put them aside. And they're wailing, they're crying loud. You know, the way they are crying, you know, 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗃𝗃, hey, baba wa mere vari kuridza, kana mai wa mere vari kuridza, kwakanaka here. Today I'm urging you guys, overcome those feelings. Because this 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗃𝗃 candidates were chosen by the people. Not even one person was handpicked. Not even one person was handpicked. So this has created chaos, especially in the government of Emmerson Mnangagwa. If you look today, as I'm talking about, there are 3 pillars of a government that should work hand in hand to oil this machine you call government. It's just like a car. If you have got a car, if you don't put fuel in that car doesn't start. It doesn't go anywhere. Because there is no fuel there. You understand? If you don't have wheels on the car, even if you put fuel, you can start it and put it in forward gear or gear number 1. That car won't go anywhere because it doesn't have wheels. I want you to understand this. This is a very simple policy. This is a very simple presentation. Yandrukuita nhasi. Yekuti kana une motikari yako, ukadira mvura haifambe. Kana iri diesel ukasaisa diesel hakuna kwainoenda. Kana kuichaya start motikari haikrenge. Haimuke. And all. Because haina diesel. Saka kana tichara diesel tikutaura the legislature of a government. Tikutaura the legislature of a government. Kana tichitaura legislature, we are talking about a branch that is concerned about making laws of a government. What is that branch? It's the legislature. It's one of the 3 pillars of a government. And these people, they enact legislation. And they murugona. Vanogadzira mitemo. Legislature vanogadzira mitemo. Saka, fuel yemota. Yekuti kana motikari isina fuel, hakuna kwainofamba. Government kana isina legislature, hakuna kwainoenda government. If it cannot make laws, kana isina this branch that make laws, hakuna kwamunoenda. So this is the branch that is under attack by ZANU-PF. So I don't know how I can put it across, but I want you to understand that we have got a government in chaos. The whole government, the ZANU-PF government is in chaos because it is attacking the law-making branch of the government. A branch that is supposed to enact legislation is under attack. It is under attack from which government? From which department? From the executive. The executive being a branch of the government that implement the laws which were made by the legislatures. An executive is where the laws are executed. Ndo vanenge vachipa direction yekuti mitemo kana ichinge yapasiswa nelegislature inofamba sei munyika. And more. What happens now? There is a 3rd branch that interpret the law. That means the laws are made by the legislature. Those laws are interpreted by the judiciary. And the judiciary we see today in our country is the judiciary that has made the laws of a country meaningless. We've got a judiciary that cannot interpret these laws. Why? Because the judiciary is working hand in hand with the implementers of the law. That means the judiciary, when it tries to implement the laws, they are being told by the executive that when you are implementing these laws, we want you to pass this judgment. When we are in Zimbabwe talking about the executive, we talk about the president's office. Mnangagwa being the head of, being the executive, who is responsible for appointing those who interpret the law, those who are the judicial. For Malawa, Governor Malawa, who had the judicial, for him to be the Judge Malawa was appointed by the executive. And all the decisions he does are the decisions made by the executive to say, go and give this judgment. So this is why you see ZANU-PF is trying to steal the seats in parliament so that they continue to pass these oppressive laws. They continue to make these oppressive laws. What they want to do is gain the majority in parliament, or to gain majority in the legislature where these laws are made. They want to make oppressive laws and pass them there. Then they give the laws to the judiciary. Then the judiciary will read and understand whatever the legislature wanted to say. Then after that, the executive implement those laws. So if you go to Zimbabwe, our country, the nature of the government that we have and the nature of the executive branch that we have is a corrupt executive branch of the government. This is where senior politicians of ZANU-PF are comprised. This is where they reside, in the executive. And saka tiri kutaura tichiti mitemo kuinterpretwa kwayakuitwa mitemo asi ndizvo mitemo iri kuiswa muparliament kwete. Judiciary yedu isusu is making its own laws. Yata make its own laws. It disregard mitemo yakaiswa neparliament. Because the supreme law of the country, the constitution of Zimbabwe, has been suspended by ZANU-PF. Nothing in the constitution is being followed by ZANU-PF. This is started by a coup. When we had a coup, that coup on its own suspended the constitution. Ndakaona Chiwenga akabata achitaura achiti chamuri kuona chinonzi constitution is just a paper. We can disregard this. We can say we don't follow that. But what is written there is just a paper. It's just a book. An ordinary book. Hanzi constitution yeZimbabwe yakangofana neutamba-oga mwanangu. Ukaverenga bhuku ratamba-oga. That fiction iri memwe. Fiction yo, no fiction yatiri kuona iri muZimbabwe. Vari kutaura vachiti constitution yeZimbabwe is just like chibhuku chamunoona chakanzi tamba-oga mwanangu. Unongoverenga wochikanda. What you read there is of no substance. It's of no relevance in whatever you will be doing during that day. Aungati ukaverenga tamba-oga mwanangu unobaya munhu nemuseve nokuti waverenga tamba-oga mwanangu. No, it's irrelevant to what practically happens in your life. Saka, if you look at the functions of the political executive, Ukatasawa Mnangagwa, he is supposed to be giving leadership to the country. He is supposed to ensure that policy making he must be like the popular leader. Is someone who leads, someone who sees the crisis, and someone with the bureaucratic leadership. Someone anofana kuve ari munhu anema powers ekuti kana pachinge pashata panapa he can calm. So we need someone are different now. And because if you look at my powers anoholdwa na president na a president, these powers are stipulated or are constitutional roles that are given to him, and these are formal powers. He has to perform his constitutional role. He has got responsibilities assigned by the constitution as an executive officer of the government. It is a very difficult topic to present, but say something chandiri kutaura kuti munyika medu we have got chaos munyika medu. There is no coherence between the engine, the fuel, and the wheels. The car, Zimbabwe, is a car without fuel. It cannot be driven. It's a car without wheels. You cannot drive a car without wheels. Even if you fill the tank, the engine starts, but you can't go anywhere. So Zimbabwe is a country that is stagnant at this juncture. It's a country that is crying for leadership. It's a country that is crying for organizations that put the country first, that put the constitution of a country first. It is a country that requires someone with the good political skills, someone animal leadership who is akin to the art of manipulation, perhaps inevitably a feature for democratic politics. Someone with this kakadhatike kuti ndofanirwa kuenderi a political leader anoprovide political leadership to a country. Saka ndiri kutaura ndichiti taakuenda guys, taakuenda ku 2023 election. Taakuenda ku 2023 election. For a country to stabilize, what we need is an executive leader who thinks about the country, who does not think about his cronies, who does not think about his mafia, the gold mafia, who does not think about his relatives only, his clan. No, we want an executive person who understands the president's job. If you listen to the to the addresses that Mnangagwa has gone around the country, busing people to every rally, Masamba chiripano futi, hey. Leonard Masamba chiripano zvichimudhara jaja, hey. Leonard, iwe ndoda kutumira zizi chairo iwe, unoda zizi mfana iwe, umborohwa nezizi, wambona zizi ruchirwa mbama, urwa mbama nezizi, unoda zizi chairo chairo iwe, right? So, if you compare the speeches which were delivered so far by our politicians, Mnangagwa busing people from Lupane, from Nyanga, from Gwanda, from Masvingo, from Kunonzikuchiko, Kukanyemba, Bodog. Mnangagwa has bussed people from those areas all over the country, addressing them. I want you to put all Mnangagwa's addresses. Find a USB. Kana wasina USB ndokupa. Find a USB. Download all Mnangagwa's speeches. I want you to listen to each and every speech that Mnangagwa has delivered so far. When he put these people, when he brings his audience together, or purported supporters together. I want you to listen to all Mnangagwa's speeches. This is what I do when I want to do a research, guys. I listen to all speeches that Mnangagwa has so far delivered. And I listen to all speeches that President Nelson Chamisa has so far delivered. Right? If you listen, you can see sharp differences between these two leaders. There is a sharp difference between Chamisa and Emmerson Mnangagwa. If the differences are that Chamisa is a statesman. If you did not believe this, go and listen to Nelson Chamisa's addresses or speeches. They are important. I know at this juncture, you are not taking those speeches seriously. But believe me, if they are compiled in a book, the future generation will curse you. They will shout it. kuti munomaiwe na leader mu Britain. Taiwe na leader ainzi Eustace wainzani kwa mai vaive nyora apa man. Amai vaive vaitungamirira conservative. Vakapa ZANU-PF power. Wainzana. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher in this country. Pamusi wakafa Margaret Thatcher. Achinovigwa uku. Achingopedza kufusirwa kunzi Margaret Thatcher avigwa. Guess what happened in this country? British wakaita queue. The British people vakaita queue panapa nekuMiddlesbrough 8 miles queue yevanhu wesaive paenda achiwetera paguva raMargaret Thatcher. Vamwe vakaona vamwe vakaita chance vakanodhotera paguva raMargaret Thatcher. Right. If you don't be wise, if you don't take politics seriously, if you don't listen to President Nelson Chamisa's speeches that he has delivered so far, ukafa iwewe vedzinza rako vachasvitira tsvina paguva rako. Ukafa iwewe vedzinza rako vachawetera paguva rako. Because unenge uchinzi you are a useless father, you were a useless sekuru, you are a useless elder in the society. Sweet speeches, encouraging speeches, peace-building speeches were delivered by the opposition leader during your time. You did not take time to listen to that so that you can make decision to change a government. If you finish listening to President Nelson Chamisa's speeches, get all Mnangagwa's speeches and listen to them. You will see someone, not a statesman, who is just there for power. You give him power, he get confused. Anomira pa podium okuti 4 plus 10 40 ndizvoka. Anomira pa podium okanganwa even date re-election. Nwa elections ari muna August. Akutaura kuti ari kumuswa 31 December ndizvoka. Anomira pa podium okutarisa kuti musoro wambuya wako ndizvoka. Anomira pa podium otaura tinokupisa zibuno iroro. We are talking of an executive member. We don't want a clown in our country. That position does not need a clown. It is a position that needs a respectable person. Munanenga Achinzi has got executive powers to execute legislation, which were made by the legislatures, interpreted by the judiciary, and must be implemented by the executive. So we need someone serious on that position. We don't need a clown. We don't need a clown. We don't need a clown. Kana matora mkana okuterera ma speech a Nelson Chamisa, muterera ma speech a Emmerson Mnangagwa, chiterera ma speech a Robert Mugabe. Then compare Robert Mugabe's speeches with Emmerson Mnangagwa's speeches. Mwari, God does not do favors. Mwara wana ma favor wanoita. Dai mwari wane favor. Ingadai vakatanga na Emmerson Mnangagwa as president. Opedza his mediocrity. Kozopinda Mugabe with the firm and the firm speeches. Mugabe akasingaseke. Aiti kana afunga kudeliver a speech to the nation, aikwira pa podium baya obata speech yake otanga kutaura kuverenga. Kana asikade kuverenga otaura zviri musoro make. If you compare Mugabe and Emmerson Mnangagwa, vanhu veZANU-PF makatengesa mombe mukatenga dhongi. It's very unfortunate to say that ZANU-PF you sold cattle mukanotenga a donkey. Now you can dongi rikafa hamudyi nyama. You cannot kill donkey for meat. amene unana bait bridge wataona unodya madhongi, but kwedu zvinoera kukuona wakatakura musoro wedhongi kunobika. Saka 𝗧𝗵𝗿𝗹𝗹 zviri kukama dhongi mukaka wacho haumwiwe. It's very unfortunate, guys. Very unfortunate. What I'm saying here is we saw a firm leader first and we moved into mediocrity. We've got a clown in the executive seat right now. And that clown, we expect him to grow our nation. Because his job, president's job, as the nation has grown, so has the job of being a president. After independence, Zimbabwe wanted a president, a person with a job of being a president. After Mugabe was removed, someone was coming in to take a job of a president. And what is the job of a president? If I ask you, what is the job of a president? Mnangagwa's job as a president so far is to create chaos in our country. He has created chaos in our country. If you listen to the speech he delivered in Russia, that speech alone will lead Zimbabwe into troubles. And that speech, unoza kunonzi kunyongosa nyuchi kwakaitwa na Mnangagwa. Unongosvika pane mukokoso ubaya nyuchi dzoguruma. Akanyongosa nyuchi nespeech. So his job as a president is not what he is doing as a president. Because a president has certain jobs. A very good example of a president is the chief executive of a nation. When someone is a chief executive of a nation, those who are under him and the population or the majority of the country, let me roughly say the citizens of Zimbabwe, they've got certain expectations when someone is said to be the head of the executive branch of a government. We don't expect a clown to occupy that place, because that place needs a chief executive of a country. Munhu wekuti akageza akamira pamberi pevanhu apa akapfeka sutu, munogutsikana meso kuti ya ava ndo vakuru vedu. Akapfeka boots, munogutsikana meso kuti ava ndo vakuru vedu. Akapfeka trousers kana akangopfekawo casual dressing, nemi munogutsikana kuti paita vakuru pano. Because all the people who work for the government expect someone in that chief executive position to be someone who is respectable, not a clown. But so far, 𝗧𝗵𝗿𝗹𝗹 has given us a clown. We are going into 2023 elections. We must end this. Zimbabwe must never be under such a clown. Because nzvimbo yaakagara inzvimbo inoera. To be chief executive is a job rinoera. Imagine kana muna chief executive wekambani yenyu anouya kubasa osvika otanga kutora chingwa kumwa zhura akamira panze achidaidzira ya chimba achitaura nonsense ari panzao. How are we going to respect that chief executive? Because we are looking for someone to carry our laws. We are looking for someone to implement our laws. Because chief executive must be someone who is able to issue executive orders. If we have got Mnangagwa, we expect executive orders to be issued by ED. Ndiye anomira okutarisa so musoro wambuya wako nokutokosha zimunhu iroro nemoto. We definitely have a clown. So iwewe neni tine basa. Ndatinini, go and listen to President Nelson Chamsa's speeches. Go and listen to Emmerson Mnangagwa's speeches. Go and listen to the late Robert Mugabe's speeches. Compare the three speeches. The greatest leader so far is Nelson Chamisa, amongst the three. Number 1 is Chamisa, number 2 Mugabe, number 3 hapana, number 4 hapana, number 5 hapana, number 6 hapana, number 7 mamuziwa number 7, number 8 hapana. Wanamnanga gwaruma number 50. Bozi tikazotanga kuma number 20 teta kusawana Munzura, teta kusawana Mutambara. So the greatest leader so far, even if you listen to the speeches, is none other than Nelson Chamisa. So we expect President Nelson Chamisa to assume power after the 23 August elections. And President Nelson Chamisa, the citizens expect you to issue executive orders. Don't be a clown. Don't go to the people and say, "Msoro wambu yako." We don't expect a president to say that in front of probably 30,000 people. He is bust. Aungatakure vanhu kubva kunana Lupane kupi all over the country kuya uzowataura "Msoro wambu yako." Adola. Because to be a chief executive or issue these executive orders, it's like carrying out my duties ako chief executive. My orders are not pure, not chief executive. They've got a force. The orders have the same force as law. Imbotererai, Zimbabweans. But why we need change of a president? Ndakanzwa umwe munhu aita anzi munotora majokes apresident matora serious. Ndati nini, this place is being a president, you are a chief executive of a country. The citizens expect you to issue executive orders, and the orders have the same force as law. Nobody doesn't understand. The executive orders issued by a chief executive or a president of a country, they've got the same force as law. Ukanzwa president wachitaura kuti tokuda kunokutokoshai tokupisai mabuno iwayo, that means he is inciting violence, because he is giving an order to his supporters to go and burn your nose, burn people's noses, and kill them. Makanzwa chekuzvimba maoko ichi kuita mbumu maoko wazvichonzani chichiwenga, when he was saying 𝗵𝗵𝗃 must be crushed like lice. Isakakura tichita inda akutokutaurirai panapa. Vashoma panapa vasingazive inda panapa, takadziita inda. Unzakana muchigara kunana Zimbabwe kweko, inda dzinobva muvhu. Hapana asina kuita inda panapa. Naiti kana ndiri kuchikoro ndikapinda mutoilet, ndaibvisa pendi yangu chaicha ndoitarisa umuchuno munomu. Waitodziona dzimwe dzakasvibira tichitswanya soti tswa. Hapana asina kumbotswanya inda panapa. Ndiri parimandi prison, ndakambotora chikoko chemechisi Lions Match chacho. Chikoko chemechisi vandachigadzika apo. Ndadaidza vasungwa muindiri muyadhi kati guys, vanhu havazive inda. Ndoda kuti mumbotora inda, muzadze inda. Vakomana vakabvisa hembe kudai. Vakatanga kutanha inda vachikanda muchinhingiri memwe. Tanha inda vachikanda. Chakazara nenda. Zara kuti mako. Chimechi box nenda. Chakazara nenda chilunch box. Chimechi box chachi. Inda kuzadza kuti mako inda. Saka ndiri kutaura kuti kana tina president munyika, tiri kutarisira a chief executive. Haufanira kuita majokes pese pese, because ukatanga rally, ukaterera marally amunangagwa, you don't take him serious as a president. Ndo vana sekuru vari kunzi chiendai kumusha, monoswera muchitamba nevazukuru, chifidu. Endai munosera mudhara muchitambana nachifidu. Muchitaura nyaya dzamuri kutaura kuti musoro wambuya wako chakupisa mhuno iyoyo. Because when you occupy such high office as chief executive, the people of a country expect executive orders to be issued by you. Once you start saying, we will burn your nose, then you are inciting violence. It is an order, it's an executive order from the chief executive to say, go burn their noses, go destroy their houses, go kill them. If you are giving an order to squash 𝗕𝗵𝗃 like lice, that means you are saying to the people, go kill 𝗕𝗵𝗃 opposition or 𝗕𝗵𝗃 activists. Because whatever orders you issue as a president or vice president, those are executive orders, which these orders have the same force or effect as law. So you are giving a law, you are giving an order. So to go to your supporters to go and kill 𝗕𝗵𝗃 people. Then after these people are killed, there is law which was made by parliament that if you kill someone, then you need to be hanged. And that law is there. But we see we have lost Mboneni Ncube. The killers are being protected by ZANU-PF. The law is not taking its course. We've got 𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃 is still not buried, who was murdered by ZANU-PF. And the people who murdered 𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗃𝗃 are scot-free. They are walking there. They've never been arrested. This is why I am saying that Zimbabwe is a country with a government in chaos, where the legislature, where the laws made by our legislature is not allowed by the executive to take its effect. People are not allowed to be arrested in our country. People who murdered opposition politicians are not arrested. They are walking scot-free. That is chaos I'm talking about. The executive is interfering with the judicial. That means those who committed crimes, if they are sent to the court, they are acquitted. But we know they are guilty. The judiciary is failing to interpret the laws independently because they are so scared. They fear the executive. So Zimbabwe government is a shaking government, or it's a government in chaos. This is why I am saying the chief executive is the one who appoints government officials. And I don't know why, I don't understand Zimbabweans. The 2013 constitution, is it the one that we wrote? Because when I contributed to that constitution, when I was writing to the contribution of the constitution, I said the executive must be elected by the people. But the judiciary, the head of judiciary must be chosen amongst the judges, and let the judges choose their judiciary. Or it can be by qualification, to say those who want to be, there is this commission that select the magistrates and so forth. There must be a board that oversee the appointment of a person who head the judiciary. There must be a board that oversee the appointment of head of legislature. Because Mnangagwa is the one who appoints head of legislature, is the one who appoints head of the judiciary. So these two arms of the government rely on the executive powers of Emmerson Mnangagwa. And the people, when we go to court, you saw what happened in Bulawayo. It was an order issued from Justice Malawa after he has been saved by Mnangagwa to say, you are not retiring. You are extending your term beyond what the constitution of the country requires. And there is very good precedence that when people made noise to say Malava must retire because of age, he appealed against the judgment, and the High Court order was set aside. In a similar manner, when 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗃 appealed against the barring of 12 members, that order issued by the High Court, when the appeal is accepted by the Supreme Court, will be set aside. Surprisingly, I don't know what is happening. This case has been slotted to be heard on Monday by the Supreme Court. But as far as we understand, according to the government gazette, the Supreme Court is on recess. It went on recess on the 28th of July, and they will be back on the 11th of September. I don't know what's the agents. They are coming back to hear this case on Monday. So this means the constitution of a country has been suspended. Zimbabwe, country inyika yakungotongwa na kia azvisina mutemo mukati kutongwa kwenyika yeZimbabwe. Saka the chief executive of a country appoint government officials. That means that position, it requires someone of sound mind. For you to become chief executive, you must be someone of sound mind. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗿 murise mdara bon mofela zviri kufamba ere Ben? Unoziva kuti ndikataura nyaya ndikadaidzira kuti 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗿. This is a great man. I know kuti vanhu they don't appreciate this man anonzi 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏. But to me, he's a great man. Pandakabva kuZimbabwe ndichiuya munyika munomu, hakuna kwandaiziva kwandaiuya. But ndakasvikira mumaoko emukoma wangu anonzi 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏. Ngoma Tau vaindiuya vachinditora vachinondiratidza nyika yeEngland ino. Kunana Newcastle ndakasvika ndira mukoma Tau. Tikaenda kunana Portsmouth, tikaenda kunana Sheffield, ndakatenderera nemurume. Dzimwe nguva ndaiti kana ndikada drink chairo charaindaro don't worry shepherd, dzoburisa mari ndaimboziva paundi dzaigona kundipa kana 20 pounds inotenga zvauri kuda. Tikangosvika patoenda wadya here ndoti ndisati blazi uda chii, uda sadza inombowa ndiro sadza nichabhadhara. This man is a great man. Vanhu vashoma vakaaccepta vakandibatsira. Ndikataura about 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏, ndotaura about 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗄𝗏, ndotaura about mukoma wangu 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏. Mukoma 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 vakanditi chitrausi chawaya wakapfeka kubva Zimbabwe chahampa nachite uri mupanhu akarwa hondo inotyisa. Dzakanopinda muwardrobe madzo baba kunotora sutu, zvikanzoedza sutu inokwana chete. Baba ndakaenda musi pane imwe rally ndakachena, vanhu vakashamisika kuti munhu akaenda zuro wakutosunga tai watopfeka sutu. That sutu yacho nanhasi ndinayo. Inini I value zvinhu zvandoitirwa na someone. Nanhasi sutu yo ndinayo. Ndakataura kuvana vangu ndikati iyi sutu ndoda kuti vazukuru vangu vazoiona kuti sutu ndakaipiwa nemukoma wangu naJudicial ndichipinda munyika munomu. Ndisingambozivi kuti sutu inotengwa kupi, boots inotengwa kupi. Ndainzi boots idzi dzatoona kuti ukwana ipi. Sutu baba, sutu inodhura andimurikona. Saka when I talk about 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏, when I talk about 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, when I talk about 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏, and rutaura of great people who accepted me, who helped me settle in this country. Kuti ndizoziva kuti kune Leeds, ndizive kuti kune Sheffield, ndizive kuti kune Portsmouth, ndizive kuti kune Plymouth, ndizive kuti kune London, ndimukoma Tau. Dzaine imwe Benz, yakairi Benz, mudarata motikari yanga iri chiko yamaifamba nayo yakairi Benz here, Benz. Imwe yakaita cream inside, yakaita beige kunzo. still remember tichenda kuNewcastle. Ando zikondi tikagaragara mndara tawo ndo dzakada ndite matama dzaiko tikagaragara uda kebab uda machips mndara yasi right mndara ndimakanipa dumbu inini right mngoma wangu. So nyaya tikutaura panapa tikutaura about a chief executive, a president of a country. We are talking that position, it needs someone of sound mind. Aidi a clown. Andimon. Zokuti pakabva Mugabe, we expected someone better than Mugabe. Nobody thought Mnangagwa was worse than Mugabe. Nobody thought about that. Because Ngwena Kazhinji, in order to be honest with you, I believe in Ngwena. I used to believe in him. Kuvari minister of in the president's office, Agawaya minister of justice. What we were seeing at the minister of justice, Kanapagaita president of Nangota, Uyumdara no gonna gadzira zvinu. Because what I saw minister of justice, Shaitwa na Idim Nangagwa, people can confess with justice. Did why to get a corruption with justice why Zingwabas? When I got corrupt to Zingwabas and Amnangagwa. And everyone. Saka Pagaita president Nagati could be the rightful replacement. Yamgabi. I never thought that you failed to perform to perform as a president. But Ndakuona he was just someone angari aibudirira behind the executive orders of Mugabe. Sakangari covered na Mugabe. Mugabe ndiye aita unge tione unge Emerson Mnangagwa is a better leader. Kana paakapinda even the opposition believed in him. Atidukunyeperana. Vanhu vandakaona vakaresista kupinda kwa Mnangagwa nekuMatabeleland. Because vaiziva kuti our butcher now ndiye our president and they expected to be killed in thousands. But vamwe vanhu vazhinji vese vandoziva vamwe hatitoda kutaura nemazita avo chaiwo. Vamwe vakatomboshandira mudhara yeyu. They believed in him. Kuti munhu akanga aona mistakes aRobert Mugabe and he was ready to rectify those mistakes. Semunhu aingotaura ari behind Mugabe. Achiti, we are the people. We are the soldiers. We are achipa mafame and fair. We're waiting for orders and so forth. People thought right now, taana munhu auya kuzogadzirisa nyika. Little known that we have put a clown in the executive office. So, when we look at a president, besides being a chief executive of a nation, we are looking at someone who is the chief diplomat. I know when I talk about the chief diplomat, your mind will race to the statement that he delivered in Russia recently. That statement is far below the expected standards of a chief diplomat, being a chief executive, being a president of a country. You cannot go and support human rights abuses. Putin is killing people. Putin ari kubomba zvipatara. Putin ari kubomba vana vari kufa. You cannot support Putin whilst he's bombing innocent civilians. He's bombing children. He's killing innocent people. He's destroying infrastructure of Ukraine for no reason. Then you cannot go there and support such type of barbaric acts, terroristic acts, to say Zimbabwe support the invasion of Ukraine. Imagine if we have got Zimbabweans in Ukraine, how are they going to be treated by the Ukrainian people? Obviously, we've got Zimbabweans there. How are they being treated? How will Ukraine people treat them? How about the allies of Ukraine? You go to America, we've got plenty of Zimbabweans. You come to the United Kingdom, we've got thousands and thousands of Zimbabweans here. And these are the allies of Ukraine where we reside. And when they look at you to say, oh, these are the people who are supporting the invasion of Ukraine, Why can't they go and live in Russia? You understand? So, if we have got a president, we are looking for a chief diplomat. A chief diplomat. Someone who deals with the foreign governments. A chief diplomat is someone who deals with the foreign governments. We want someone who deals with the foreign governments, who is representative of the Zimbabwe people. Kuti kana ndikanzi I'm the chief diplomat of Zimbabwe, you must be proud of me. Whatever I will stand and say to the people, to the other governments, the way I engage at other governments must reflect with you. To say, look, if you were the chief diplomat, if I were the chief diplomat, if someone was the chief diplomat, as long as that person is Zimbabwean, whatever he's going to say to that government is whatever I was going to say, is whatever this one was going to say. Ukangona wadaro chete watoziva kuti wa chief diplomat. Because if you are a chief diplomat, you should understand the internal and external affairs of other countries. Because if you look at the internal affairs of Ukraine, internal affairs of Russia, the external affairs of Ukraine, external affairs of Russia, and you take side in that conflict, you are taking side in that conflict. When you take side, you need to appoint your ambassadors to Ukraine. What will the Ukraine government say? You need ambassadors to Ukraine's allies. What do Ukraine allies say when you are supporting killing of Ukrainians, innocent Ukrainians, destruction of infrastructure in Ukraine, and you say, yes, I stand in support of Russia for bombing Ukraine? So, you are not being a chief diplomat the people of Zimbabwe want. Ndatini, go and listen. The speech is delivered by Nelson Chamisa. The speech is delivered by Emmerson Mnangagwa. The speech is delivered by Robert Mugabe. You will definitely come up with one candidate to say this country must be ruled by Nelson Chamisa, because he has shown the qualities of someone who has to occupy the chief executive, the presidency, the chief diplomat. We are talking about Nelson Chamisa being the chief diplomat of a country. Listen to his speeches. They are unifying speeches. They are speeches that can take a country forward. Kuti vanhu venyika vaite zvakanaka, vanofanirwa kuva ne chief diplomat anovaleader zvakanaka, anenge achitaura zvakanaka. Ngokuti kana tikati Chamisa is going to sign treaties with any other government, we know that those treaties, he will read and understand those treaties and sign. When he doesn't need, or when he doesn't need to sign because of certain issues, he is not going to sign. Yes, imagine, considering the standard of education, 𝗭𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗏, who is the vice president, the deputy chief diplomat of a country, he does not understand even his speech. He doesn't listen to himself when he's talking. His brains and his speeches are not connected. The socket has been disconnected. What his brain says is not what his speech does. What his brain say is not reflected by his speech. His brains think this, and his speech is about this. So he's a disorientated man. But he has been sent in a number of times to China to go and sign some treaties. And you wonder who is going to read for him? Who is going to explain these treaties to him? Because ukamupa paper racho, ukamuchiverenga paper raagoni, chinzwisa zviri kudiwa paagoni. So, if we are looking for a chief diplomat, we want someone who can deal with foreign governments effectively, someone who can appoint our ambassadors. It's his duty. Someone who can make treaties on behalf of the country. Someone who understands. Someone who acts as a mediator between nations. I never thought Mnangagwa would go to Russia and support Russia. I never thought about that. These two are in conflict. And a chief diplomat from Zimbabwe must act as a mediator. I thought Mnangagwa would go and act as a mediator. Kantanga anakirwa nekunzi apuwa hendegere. Kantanga anakirwa nekunzi anzi takupa chikafu che4 months muchingodya here. I don't understand it. I don't understand why. Instead of him acting as a mediator, he's taking sides in Russia. He's condemning Ukraine. Because apuwa chibage chikunzi naimodya for 4 months. So, I'm saying this government, ladies and gentlemen, for you to make an informed decision. You must make an informed decision. We are marching towards 2023 elections. We've got 25 days left. By now, I think it's 24 days left to go into an election. And you must consider whatever I'm saying here, that the person you are going to elect into as a president must be someone you are not embarrassed to point it, to say this is my president. Must be a chief executive who is capable of issuing chief executive orders. Must be a chief diplomat who is supposed to be a mediator between warring nations. Russia and Ukraine are in conflict. They don't need Zimbabwe to take sides. They need Zimbabwe to mediate. Bring Putin here and Zelensky there. Sit them on the same floor, on the same table. Talk about their differences. Try to come to terms with their differences and try to find solution. We need a chief diplomat who can bring these men together and find a solution to end the war. Because in that war, children are dying, women are dying, innocent civilians are dying, elder people are dying. Because Zelensky and Putin have got differences. Because Mnangagwa is now taking sides to ensure that Russia kills more Ukrainians. So he's like Arkutokonya Nyunchi. Because obviously his speeches have been aired everywhere. Zimbabwe is a country that has been surviving from medical supplies donated by America, medical supplies donated by Britain. If you see Mnangagwa going to Russia or Chiwenga going to China, Chiwenga went to India and brought to Zimbabwe planes and planes of expired drugs. The shelf life of the drugs that Chiwenga brought in the country were expired. And he expected people to be injected expired drugs in their blood, killing Zimbabweans. And we are marching towards 2023 elections. And in those elections, you are given an opportunity. You are given a pen and a ballot paper. That is an opportunity for you to go and end ZANU-PF rule by just putting an X. You just put an X there, go outside, stand, fold your hands, wait for the results. Let them count, watch them counting. And they must give you the results to see who has won on this polling board. And Truda a mediator between Russia and Ukraine. We don't want someone who stand and take sides to say, yes, Russia, keep killing Ukrainians, keep bombing Ukrainians. We don't want that. We don't. We want peace. We want a mediator, a chief diplomat who understands peace. Hakuna uza kugara une peace panyika uneta matama. Look at me. Since I came to the UK, I'm enjoying peace. And but I'm enjoying peace. And after all, I've said we need a president who is not a clown. That president must be someone suitable to be chief executive of a country. someone suitable to be a chief diplomat of a nation, who is capable of mediating between warring nations. A good example I've given Russia, I've talked about Ukraine. The impact of the Russian-Ukrainian war on civilians, on women, on children, on elderly people, even animals. Nyoka ziri kungopiswa nemabhomba dzingatoziva kuti chii chiri kurwiwa. You understand? So we've got loads of things suffering, the environment suffering, animals suffering, human beings suffering, air being polluted, water being polluted, and more. Saka nenyaya yekuti Mnangagwa ari kuda kuti Putin aramba achimwaya mabhomba munyika yeUkraine. So Mnangagwa must be stopped. Because he went there to support Russia. And Russia, when they say we are supported by Zimbabwe, because their commander-in-chief has said he can even give military support to the people of Russia. Because he's the commander-in-chief. He can issue executive orders. So even if he say today, Zimbabwe soldiers must go fight alongside Russians, it's an executive order coming from a chief, a commander-in-chief, leader of the armed forces, who is there to command our troops, who also pick military leaders. Saka nyaya ndiri kutaura iyi, pane munhu akomenda, regai nditsvage comment yacho. If you go to YouTube, ndiri kutsvagirai comment yacho. Come on. Ndiri kutsvagirai comment yacho kuYouTube. I want to read the comment as it is. Yakomendwa na someone kuYouTube. When I made a presentation yesterday to say, look, why is Emmerson Mnangagwa buying weapons? Sorry, I still logged up. I got logged up and I gonna be wearing. But the guy in the tower is a tower. Anga achiti zvikanzi unoziva here kuti Mnangagwa is a chief executive. Futi akabata anogona kuishandisa. Ndobva ndafane kuseka. Ndikati Commander-in-Chief of Defense Forces, or the leader of our armed forces, who has got a duty to command our troops, who picks military leaders, does not need to be a trained man. Losaka wachiona kuchinzi vachamisa vakawina nhasi kuita president weZimbabwe, he automatically becomes commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Azviroti akaenda kuhondo kunorwa hondo. What he does is he can command our troops by picking the military leaders very capable of delivering the results. And azvireve kuti munhu kuti anzi commander-in-chief of the defense forces munhu anofanirwa kuve ari muuto, anofanira kudzidza, anofanira kuziva kuenda kuhondo kunoridza pfuti kuita sei. If we vote, go to Zambia. 𝗕𝗏 is the commander-in-chief of Zambian defense forces. He commands those troops. Hatisi kuda isusu commander-in-chief akaita saEmmerson Mnangagwa, wekuti right, vana venyika vari kufa nenzara. Vana vogara pasi voti aiwa baba tafa nenzara. Uori huri kuitika apa, asi kuti uori huitika. Vanhu vopinda mustreet kunodemonstrate kuti muri kuita uori. Commander-in-chief ogara pasi. Haasese situation yenyika kuita risk control kana risk and loss assessment, kuti muone kuti chii chiri kukonzera kudai so mogadzirisa ipapo. Anobva atati munyika mangu hamudemonstrate weni chiwenga isa masoja takurai pfuti torai nyere ndei munouraya. 1 August was chaotic. It was a disaster where civilians were shot and killed. There was a woman who was just locking her office, who had nothing to do with the demonstrations, was shot from the back. It is a criminal offense for a soldier to shoot an armed person. And shooting from the back shows that these people were running away. And the purpose of dispersing riots is to let those people run away and clear a place. But this, you are shooting at people who are running away, who are not even throwing stones, who are running away from you, and you continue firing and shooting them from behind. Through orders given by a commander-in-chief like Emmerson Mnangagwa. This is why I'm saying we don't need Emmerson Mnangagwa. You don't need such commander-in-chief. As you wrote, commander-in-chief anofanira munhu akanotrainwa kuhondo. Vachamisa tikavaisa muoffice musi wa23, he will automatically assume this role of a commander-in-chief. A wise leader, a wise commander-in-chief will only pick military leaders when they know how to move, to make sure that our soldiers are competent enough to fight. Ndachitaura nyaya yekuti Mnangagwa is not the rightful person to go and buy or shop for weapons in Russia, no. We want a commander-in-chief anopika ma leaders. Ekuti kana achipika munhu anotungamirira kana komando. Mukomando atungamirirwa yeye, apikwa yeye. Achaenda kuna commander-in-chief kunotaura, kunoisa ma-proposals. President ndauya. Ndiri kuona ma-skills edu isusu compared kune mamwe manyika takasarira kumashure. So we want to upgrade our skills. Toda vanhu vari innovative. Vanoti alright, president anobvunza saka mamuda tiite sei? Tatafunga kuti isusu totora a troop yema-commandos toiendesa kupi kuAmerica. Vonoita joint training nema-American commandos. Toendesa vamwe kuChina, toendesa vamwe kuBritain. Vodzoka taane ma-skills of 3 countries. We know what their commandos do. We know what their commandos do. We know what their commandos do. Then we integrate those skills. We form one commando. Implement all these systems. Tikapinda Chinese system, we fight. Tikapinda American system, we fight. Tikapinda a British system, we fight. Because we have got the skills that they have there. We have got the skills that. So you need a leader who keeps ahead, thinking ahead. Commando, what does the commando do? What must it do? What must it not fail? And make sure you keep those skills rolling. Saka, commander-in-chief, after you give them proposal, you will say, so how much do you need? We need so much. So, is there the money? You approve mari. Treasury, mune mari tine mari yakati, toda mari yakati. Tokutumira mauto daende kwakati. Otobvanzi mari iripo president. Ndipe mari yakati. Otosaina mari yoburitsa masoja oenda kutrain. Azvireve kuti iye president yachanotrainwa chikomando. He has performed his duty as commander of our troops. He has performed his duty as leader of the armed forces. So this is someone we want. We want a commander-in-chief anoziva zvaanoita. Kwete commander-in-chief oti anoenda kuRussia oti anoda pfuti. Wakunotenga pfuti iwewe yekutengera masoja. Saka muchiona zvipfuti zvimwe zviri kuZimbabwe ukazvitarisa kuti munhu ainotenga pfuti idzi aifunga here, aitanga afunga here kuti anotenga pfuti yakati. Ukazoona manje makuenda mbonotarisa masoja ekuRwanda. Pakaitika paDelgrado pakanetsa. Rwanda ikaenda ikanonyaradza paDelgrado. PaMozambique. Wakaona pfuti dzavakaenda nadzo. Unozorora baba. Izvo zvai hondo haichada kuti kuremerwa nemakupfuta aya ekuti haumhanye nayo. Ndosaka uri kuona zvima-terrorists zvekuDelgrado zvakarohwa zvazve. Zvaive nema-LMG, zvaive nemazipfuta ekuti hatakurike. Anda kumaundwa pamotikari. Vakaenderwa navafanira vanga vane ma-light arms of war effective. Yekuti poro drrrr. Iyandi kakakakakaka. Anokubaya zvakadzidza. uchiwisa miti. Wakamboridza LMG, ndakaridza LMG kaya. Belt fed LMG. Ukairozo unenge uchikorwa miti, uchikorwa zuru kuchipfumbuka dust. But kana une pfuti effective, uri well trained. Anorirova zipfuti ri akarova. Panongori nyaradza yangu mudodonya ne1 bullet zvatopera. Andokona zvakaitwa materrorist paDelgrado neRwanda. Rwanda haina mbotakura zvipfuti zvezvezvo. Vangotaura light arms, effective arms. Avaka iwo ngozoti kobo waninyero onyarara. Omirira next achasimka opa futi mwenyero. Zvakapera zvimaterrorist zvezvo panyarara paDelgrado neRwanda. Saka tinoda commander in chief anoziva zvaanoita. Hatidi commander in chief anotitengera mashotgun ekuenda nawo kuhondo. Ezvinozvi masoja eZimbabwe anozitakura mashotgun kuenda nawo kuDelgrado. Unonorwa neshotgun unopenga. Andimona. Saka tadaro tana chief executive. Tina diplomatic, chief diplomat. Tina chief diplomat, tina president. Saka munhu ye basa rake rinenge mabasa tataura. Toda munhu anonga anoona kuti economy yenyika iri kukwira here. And anouse presidential influence. Munhu anoshandisa presidential influence anofanira kuva leader charismatic. Once you have a leader who is not charismatic, cannot influence his leadership. I mean, uses his presidential influence to see the growth of an economy. Zimbabwe yamuri kuona yaora kudai azvireve kuti haina president, ina president, but an incapable president, someone who cannot see the economy of a country grow. So ukanzo unotanga kuteerera ma-state speeches aanopa. Speech given by a president, ukada kuiteerera, it must describe a situation in a nation, and the speech is required to be constitutional. Hakuna speech inofanira natini nene munoteerera ma-speech a president. Use the social media or the mainstream media. Read about his speeches. Listen to his speeches. Raw speeches unedited. They must be constitutional issues, speeches. President havasi kutyora mutemo. President havasi kuincite violence. President vari kutaura zvekuti tivake nyika. Andimona. Besides all what I have said, he must be a party leader. President uyu anotungamirira ZANU-PF. KuZANU-PF kwacho, he must be a visible leader kuZANU-PF. Andimona. Anofanira kuva achiissue ma-favorable policies to the party. Makanzwa Mupana Musenga achitaura akati Zimbabwe kana ZANU-PF haina leader. The last leader we had was only Robert Mugabe, and that's that. Varipawa, they are not leaders of ZANU-PF. My leaders a function within ZANU-PF. Inonzi Lacoste. And there is another function inonzi G40 ZANU-PF. So these two functions are struggling to control ZANU-PF. As a result, the Lacoste used the army to take over control of ZANU-PF. But according to ZANU-PF, as an organization, it does not have a leader. It does not have someone who pursues favorable policies for the party. This is why you see ZANU-PF is a violent political party. It does not have favorable policies, or it does not have goals. What does ZANU-PF want to achieve? But by now, if ZANU-PF had goals, by now we would know that they've achieved so and so and so and so and so. So what they are working to achieve is this and that and that. They've got no breakdown of what they've achieved so far since independence. You see. So the problem now is when they were supposed to have put down whatever they achieved under the leadership of Robert Mugabe, they did not allow him to finish his term, and they to snatch the power from Mugabe. And when they came in, people thought, oh, ZANU-PF people, they might have sound policies. Up to now, there is nothing that they've produced. There's nothing that they've produced. They just give positions to their relatives. ZANU-PF ndo muna positions anopuwa nechihure. Ukazunza so, kamazunza mazakwatira so, kana kwamazunza. Mangwana unenge udaidzwa ku head office. Watova ku head office yeZANU-PF. Watova murakashi. Kana watova amene spokesperson, kana watova zvana anonzani, kanonzani kasandi, sandi. Kasandi, kanonzani kake, Sandra David. Those positions are given nekuzunza magaro ku ZANU-PF. It's no longer ZANU-PF yamaiziva here. Kuti uite candidate ku ZANU unofanira utori hure. Kana usiri hure zvavharana. What do they endorse? Chihure. They endorse corruption. Ezvo zvakataurwa sakupwanya vangaita members of parliament. Nenyaya yekuti is from a gold mafia. Honestly. Kana uri corrupt, uri mbavha, uri hure, ku ZANU-PF, yes, you can be a candidate. Because hauna ma-ideas aungashare uri mbavha, hakuna. Hakuna ma-ideas aungashare uri hure, hakuna. Saka ukada kuona kuti chinodetermina kuti vanhu vakadaro vapinde mupati is the party leader. Kana party leader ari munhu anoda pursue masound or favorable policies of a party, vanofanira kuziva even the dignity and integrity of the party. Ndosaka uri kuona president Nelson Chamisa vakataura vakati, tikada kuti tiite ndiri political party leader inini, ndikada kuti tiite politics dzakare dzinoitwa naZANU dzaitwa kuMDCs, topedzisira takusisa mahure evanhu. Imbotarisai 2018 elections, mumbotarisa audio yakabuda yekunzi komichi atora hure rake akanoisa kukwekwe, akarirojera imba, vanhu vekwekwe vakachema. Kana pachina ane video ndiri kuitsvaga stere. Ndiri kutsvaga video yakomichi yekukwekwe. Kwekwe rugwero, I think it's kwekwe. Kuri kunzi akune hure rakomichi rakanohairwa, rakanobhukira imba, rikasvika kanziwe ndiwo wasecretary munomu, ndiwo wachi komichi aimpoza hure rake. Ndozvakarambwa naPresident Chamisa izvo. Vakati kana kushandisa that system, political system, chapesera takuti parliament inenge yakazara mahure evanhu. We don't want that system. We want the people to choose their leadership, to choose their candidates. But kuzano hazviko. Unonzwa vachitaura Chamisa haana plan. Because Chamisa ari kuramba kuti musaise mahure enyu. Isai vanhu vanodiwa necommunity. Sarudza, let the community, let the citizens choose. Because once they choose someone, it's easy for them to support their person that they've chosen. And it's easy for them to endorse that person. Because that person is influential to them. Unosarudza munhu wamunoziva kuti ari influential kwamuri, and you give that person support if that person is seeking office as member of parliament. Chete president vakaramba vachamisa vakati aiwa, tikashandisa system dzekurana MDCs, ani makazoona vana komichi vakusa mahure avo, vana Douglas Monzora vakusainira mahure avo. Komichi atove neaudio komichi achitotaurira mai vaive naika komichi, ini ndiri murume, ndiri mukadzi wemunhu, to seek office muMDC makuda kutohura nene, hei uya kuhotera, hei ita sei komichi uyo. Andi muri kuona nyaya dzati kutaura. People defended komichi, pandakazovataura kuti musadefenda munhu. Munhu ihure. Andiona. Saka kana takuda munhu as president, 2023 is coming. Musi wa 23 August uno. Ngatitsvagei munhu anoita respect the leader of judicial. Asinga impose the leader of judicial. I no respect the leader of judicial. Because head of state kana kuti mukuru wenyika kana kuti president is someone anofanira kuita head law enforcement, because his office must oversee implementation of the laws that were made in the legislative, the laws that will be interpreted by the judiciary. And musikana takuzotaura kuti baba vane immunity yavanayo, that means he is safe from prosecution. Tenge takuziva kuti because he did not interfere with the judiciary system or the legislative system, munhu aingomeka sure kuti Zimbabwe these three branches of the government work harmoniously. Because ezvinezvi takamuona ngwena achipardona marapists. Just imagine kuti munhu arepa mwana ane 8 years otongwa jail, onogara jail 1 year, obva atonzi you are pardoned, you are forgiven that you raped. Asana mbozvinzwa during Mugabe's time andisati anambozviona someone being pardoned kuti he raped 8-year-old girl, a 60-year-old man kubata gangara mwana ane 8 years. Then the president will pardon that person and they say waregererwa, I have forgiven you for committing a rape crime. Akana ndimi just imagine kuti mwana yeye akarepwa nemudhara yekwaari, and the family of that child, how are they feeling? Mwana yeye ari kukura achazoda kuroorwa, anoroorwa achinzi rape victim. Unoziva kuti marape victims vanenge vane trauma. Even kana makarara mudzimba mukadzi wako kana akambopindana nadzo sekurepwa idzi, she doesn't enjoy it. Anogona kuti makatorara, anogona kutovhumuka akatanga kuchema kuti kubata kuti naye mai mwana kuchii. Psychologically that's what they say. Chigogara pasi mudiwa chii chaitika, akufunga that experience iyaya kuti ndakambobatwa chibharo zvinorwadza andimo. Saka I don't know why people think Mnangagwa is a good president. I'm saying this because we are towards elections, ladies and gentlemen. Because I've seen Mnangagwa reducing my sentences. He told commutation, my sentences. Evanu vakapara ma serious crimes. Achita pardon my rapists. Unotozvishairwa kuti tuna president akaita sei. Saka I'm not sure guys kuti kana kwamuriwo imimi muri kuzviona sei zvandiri kutaura, muri kuzvinzwa sei. Finally takuda munhu anonzi chief of state. Kana tichida president uda chief of state is the symbolic leader of the nation. Nokuti akamira apo ukapeta maoko ka ugona kudza mazambenzo tarisai uyo ndiye president wangu. Kwete munhu anofamba akapfeka scarf kuenda kukwatayo, unoziva kunopisa zvakaipa kukwatayo, anenge akaisa scarf muhuro ari kukwatayo. Anda kunana Saudi Arabia kunorwa 52 degrees a day, munhu anenge akaisa woolen scarf muhuro. Kongogadzira kaflag kekungonamira apa kekuti zivo kuti uri muZimbabwe. Munhu anotora zisikafu rero orembedza naro kutenderera nyika yese akaisa chitorobo muhuro. Even vanhu vakagadzira sikafu maBritish akagadzira sikafu vandoshamisika kuti sikafu iyi anoziva here kuti ndeyechii. Saka when he is meeting foreign leaders unotonyara kuziva kuti utaura this is the chief of state wenyika yeZimbabwe, unotonyara kuti kana achipuwa podium. Takaenda kuGlasgow padzakapuwa podium dzichipa maspeeches dzichitaura padzakavhizita kuno. Unonyara given a platform yekutaura about summit yaitwa ye-environment. Was off topic. Angochema ma sanctions azondita sei. Sanction uri kunzitaura uruda mari here. Summit here was about getting money. and go and implement this green whatever policy that the world was aiming to implement. Unosvika kuHarare wakunyepa futi wakutaura kuti hey vakagadzira nyika dzavo neko inichachera ko wakadii kuzvitaura ndozvawainzi taura pasummit. This is exactly what Mnangagwa said in Harare after COP26 summit, is what exactly he was expected to say in Glasgow. To say, you look the British, look the Americans, look the Russians. You built your countries using coal. We've got no other source of electricity unless we need to use that coal. So we are not going to stop to use coal until we get certain assistance to try and get us move out of coal use. He was supposed to have said that in Glasgow. He did not say it in Glasgow. He was talking about sanctions in Glasgow. When he went back, he addressed the Zimbabweans at the airport. Ndopayimbwa vana Yudha mberere mberere nenyika vamwe takagarika zvedu muZimbabwe vana Yudha. Ndakaseka ndikati these rubbish people, they don't understand why we are tossing Mnangagwa left, right and center. His address at the airport is different from the address he gave to COP26 summit. So we don't have someone who is brave enough when meeting foreign leaders. This is how we differ with Mugabe. Mugabe kaiti kakamira so kakatarisa maBritish pa summit ipapo kanenge kachita kubenda so kachita kakatarisa nezuro rakadai so Mugabe ko baruka kutaura kachiburuka vanhu vachiombera maoko so and kaiti English yacho kaisvisvina sei. Mugabe anga asingaende beat about the bush. Ndosakaona takazopinda matroubles akanyanya. Bozi Mugabe aiti kana asvika paipa opa nemo manje uyu mudhara aripo uyu anoti nemo akuRussia kupuwa pasummit paUN panapa hapana zvotaura. Kana asvika anofunga anozofunga kuti ndaifanira kutaura zvakati ari mundege paanozosvika kuZimbabwe unotaura izvozvo paairport, but watadza kuzvitaura where it matters. Saka I am saying we need chief of state. We need someone who can akamita ma-foreign leaders. Glasgow dzaingotera hanzi handakasangana naBlair akandinyemerera zvekundinyemerera naBiden hanzi akandisimaira zvekundisimairira zvezvo. Ushuwa mudhara ungatenderera achitarisana naBiden kusummit kuti hanzi ndipuwe simairi naBiden. Ndakataura ndikati uyu munhu varungu havazive ngaachitobvunza isusu agara muno muna naBritain. Varungu vane inonzi plastic smile. Kana uri clown ka murungu akati unobva wafunga ndasekerera. Ndakataura ndikati ya uku ndokunonzi kudzungaira. Vana mudhara vaya ndovataiti vana mudengu munei turi chikoro. Taibvunza kuti mudengu munei. Varungu vane plastic smile. Ukasvika pane murungu asingakufarire, asingade kutomboona black skin, anenge achibata mhuno kuti uri kunhuhwa wakamira panext naye. Ukacheuka mukatarisana so anokupaka inonzi plastic smile. Angudai atopedza atosunga kumeso akutupfura kuini. Hi Shepherd. Hi Shepherd. This is plastic smile. No smile yemaBritish iyoyo. Varungu avo ndo smile yavo. Ukabvunza vanhu vanoshanda nevarungu avo vakasiyana siyana vanokutaurira kuti haumufoka muona achiita hi Shepherd, are you okay? Wakufamba akuenda ayo. Hi Shepherd. Otodzokera back to what she was. Iwo unobva wafunga kuti handafarirwa stere neplastic smile yevarungu. Ndo zvaiitwa ngwena nevarungu kuCOP26 meeting. Vaiti vakamona kuti Emerson vakutoita business ravo. Hai Mnangagwa. Ndakaona Blair, Emerson akamhoreswa naTony Blair kuRwanda. Tony akarova plastic smile baba. Inini I didn't like smile yaTony. Haisi smile yayawa hakutombokufarira zvachose mudharaunda. Haisi smile yaya. That is what we call plastic smile. So we want a leader Ukuthi kana achita meet these foreign ministers or foreign leaders, he's firm and fair. Someone who stand for the country. Someone who do not look for smiles. We want someone who drives, put ideas to those people. Those people must know that we as Zimbabweans, we have got an identity. When we say this, we say this. We don't say this and say that tomorrow. No. We must be consistent in whatever policies we have given as a nation, as a country. So, kana tichitarisa mukuru wenyika, tiri kutarisa munhu watotarisira kuti vakuru ava vatakuisa panapa ndo vakuru vatakuda kuti vatungamirire Zimbabwe. Taakuda vakuru vekuti kana vakataura unonzwa kuti nyika yadedera. Taakuda vakuru vekuti vakataura vanenge vachivhura mabusiness opportunities kune vana veZimbabwe. Vanenge vachitsvaga masponsorship. Unoziva kune mabillionaires. This world is full of billionaires. Vanhu vane mari voti mukatanga kutaura nyaya dzefertilizer cement, kana ndisina idea yekuvhura business kuAfrica, ndotanga kufunga kuti alright, saka chiri kuleka muZimbabwe chavasina chiva now. Havana fertilizer, but ndine mari kaini. How much does a fertilizer plant needs? Ndogara pasi nemaccountants angu toona kuti tikawake out a fertilizer plant kuiconstructa costs so much. So inoda mari yakati kuti construct, and we can recover that money within so many years. From there yangove profit chete. Saka ndinouya kuZimbabwe ndovaka a fertilizer plant, a cement plant. I know this is what is in short supply. This is what businesses do. They look at opportunities to say what is lacking in that country. And that thing that is lacking in that country is what they go into. My businessmen, they diversify. Avangoti business rekutengesa madomasi chete will remain a business rekutengesa madomasi. No. So if we look back to whatever I have said, look back at the effectiveness of Mnangagwa's governance and whether it was run efficiently for the past 6 years, this is when we need to come up with the decisions to say the chaos we witnessed in the last 6 years, are we happy to still continue with that chaos? Are we happy as Zimbabweans? Do you think Mnangagwa, with his performance in the last 6 years, do you think he has economic plans to take Zimbabwe forward? Do we think Mnangagwa has an economic plan to move our country forward, to create jobs, to make sure that the economy of Zimbabwe works again? Because we don't need to argue here, but we have seen it. His performance in the last 6 years. Are you happy with that performance? Are you happy to make sure Mnangagwa retain for 5 more years? And what is he expecting to achieve in a space of 5 years that he failed to achieve in a space of 6 years? By now, ingada akuita wind up his policies. Kuti varume pamakandivhotera, I came to you. I promised you this, I've delivered it. I promised you that, I've delivered it. I've promised you this and that, and I've delivered everything. Now it's time for me to consolidate whatever I've delivered, to make sure that I strengthen them. By the time I will leave office, I would have created probably 2 million jobs. I have overseen growth in economy. I have witnessed these investors coming into our country. We built that. In 5 years, we built that. We've got a functioning railway. We've got electricity now. We've got water in the tap. We've got all sewage flowing to the sewage plant being processed there, no more sewage spillage in towns and so forth. Everything, the towns are tarred. The roads have been made. I have expanded Lomagund Road into a motorway. I have expanded the Bulawayo Road into a motorway in a space of 5 years. So if you give me 5 more years, and then I'll complete this project, I'll complete that project. By the time I leave office, Zimbabwe will probably gain Zimbabwe young first world country in 10 years time. You can transform it in 10 years time. Mnangagwa so far has done 6 years. 6 years. Those 6 years are sufficient enough to have transformed Zimbabwe into a first world country. So did he transform that country? If we are going into this election, this is what we should be considering. That's what we should be considering now. Because we are talking about power. We are talking about empowerment, empowering the people of Zimbabwe. Someone wants power so that he can empower you to make sure that by the time he leaves office, the country will be in a sound economic situation. Jobs will be there. This is what we are supposed to, what Mnangagwa is supposed to be talking about now. He mustn't now bring policies, or bring promises now. It's not time for ED to bring promises. Because the promises he did in his first day of getting his first term, he should have delivered that. By now, he should be consolidating whatever he did. Ndakafela kuita ichi because of that. Ndakafela kuita icho because of that. But look, I've done this, I've done that. Ndakaita ichi. And more. Saka, if you think about ED today, you can see that this man has never been successful in anything. He's an unsuccessful leader. A leader you cannot trust now with power. If we talk about power, we don't talk of dependence. That he flies to Kenya and he flies to Tanzania and bring 8 million loan. He goes to Belarus, bring buses. He goes to China, to Russia, bring weapons and maize meal. Imagine, we're talking of a president who goes to China, to Belarus to bring buses. We can make our own buses in our country. We used to have 𝗕𝗵. He should have revisited 𝗕𝗵. What's the problem with the 𝗕𝗵? What capital does 𝗕𝗵 need? Come in.
Can you make matimba?
You want matimba? Okay, I'm coming to cook.
Sausages and saja.
All right, I'm coming. He's hungry. My boy is hungry. He likes matimba. Saka, guys, it's 12:10. So far, we've witnessed chaos in the government. The legislature, the judicial, and the executive. These are supposed to be working in harmoniously to make sure that we have a sound country. And these 3 branches of the government haven't been working together. The way judiciary should have guarded against abuse of our constitution. Judiciary should have seen that we have got a legitimate government in our country. Because every time we appeal to the judiciary to say, look, the decision made by the executive to impose himself as president after he loses the election must be interpreted properly according to the laws of a country, supreme law, that's the constitution. But you find that judge is given a house, is given 500,000 as loan from the government, so he has got no power. He can't say anything. He has just been bribed. So at the end, an illegitimate government is proved as legitimate. He rewarded a loser because he has been bribed, because he has received money from this. To me, it's like coercing, that Mnangagwa will be coercing the judges to say, look, you should give this type of judgments. You understand? Saka tiri kutaura tichiti hakuna kwatinoenda as long as the executive influence the decisions made by the judicial. Hakuna kwatinoenda, hakuna kwatinosvika, because tikasadaro hakuna. Zimbabwe inovharwa, inyika yavharwa. Saka for that guy, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've touched different things in this presentation, and I've made sure that you really understand the duties of a president. We are going to 2023 elections. I encourage you that before you get there, listen to the speeches delivered by Robert Mugabe, listen to the speeches delivered by Emmerson Mnangagwa, and listen to the speeches delivered by Nelson Chamisa. They will give you an idea of which statement should be occupying the executive of our country. Executive office, the chief executive, the chief diplomat, the commander-in-chief. What type of a leader we want to run the country? We don't want a chief executive who is involved in sexual harassment, harassing women, harassing children, who preaches violence every time he goes on the podium. He preaches violence. I've said his executive orders are equal. They've got same effects, or they're equal to the law. Because once he say go kill, that means people will go and kill, and people will be killed. So we don't want that one. We don't want that type of a leader. We don't want that type of a clown. To that leader, anoromenza ma voters asingashandise demo kana mpini kupwanya musoro. Toda munhu anonyenga, atidi munhu anobata gangara. Andidi ma voters vangofana vasikana unonyengawo kuti udiwe sweet unonyengerera. Andima unonyengerera kwete kunobata masvimbo, kupwanya, kupisa dzimba, attacking people. Kuti wewe ndidei maona pane video yekutenderera vendors being forced kukwira mabhazi, hanzi ukasara you explain. Inyika ipi yakadaro iyo. And cultivating hatred amongst the people of Zimbabwe. Saka tukutaura kuti it's crucial now. 2023 is by the corner. You and me, we need to make wise decisions. Listen to Chamisa's speeches. Go vote for Chamisa. Saka ndaakupedza ndichiti 𝗵𝗵𝗃 panyanga, X yako pana Chamisa, X yako pana 𝗵𝗃𝗃 member of parliament, X yako pana councillor. Wapedza. Dai uchiziva kuti zvii zvaunenge wabvisa neX yako iyoyo, unoti dai ma-elections auya nhasi ndatoenda ndafota. Andimona. Hapana alternative to 𝗵𝗵𝗃. Hapana. If you look at the ballot paper, there is no alternative to 𝗵𝗵𝗃. Let me say good night. Morara zvakanaka. Tozosangana mangwana naye. Good night.